My name is Marcus Aurelius, and though centuries divide us, I recognize your struggles, your grief, and the chains you bear that seem impossible to break. You see, in my time, I sat atop Rome, the largest empire of the world, yet I was often alone, burdened by duties, conflicts, and the complexities of human nature. I learned from my station and through experience the nature of men and the burdens of entangled relationships. Though centuries have passed, I see that human suffering has not changed. The names and circumstances may differ, but the essence of our pain remains constant. Today, I speak to you about a subject modern times call narcissism, but one which I recognize as a poison of self-delusion and attachment, a sickness of the soul. It is an obsession that imprisons the mind, much like the people of my era who were fixated on glory, vengeance, or the unattainable approval of others. It is an affliction that binds one's spirit, creating a cage of expectations and false promises. In my writings, known to you as meditations, I spoke often of desire, of attachment, and of the turmoil caused by our longing for what lies beyond our control. This longing creates suffering, a perpetual discontent that gnaws at the soul. Narcissism, or the obsession with a former partner who consumed your life and spirit, is not so different. It is a lingering attachment to an illusion, a need to resolve something that is not yours to solve. You believe that, by unraveling the complexity of their character, by understanding their past pain, you might bring peace to your own restless spirit. But this, dear reader, is a distraction, a diversion from the one task that truly matters, your own flourishing. The desire to untangle their past, to empathize with their suffering, and to heal their wounds is noble in its intent, but misguided in its focus. Your energy must be directed inward, towards nurturing your own spirit, towards strengthening the citadel of your own mind. For it is only when you let go of the illusion that you can begin to reclaim your life, to build a foundation that is solid and unshakable, immune to the storms that others bring. Waste no more time arguing about what a good person should be. Be one. This is what I once wrote, and today I ask you to internalize it deeply in your struggle. It is easy to get lost in the details of who is right or wrong, to analyze every nuance of the past, hoping to find meaning or justification. But in doing so, you are losing valuable time that could be used to nurture your own soul, to strengthen your spirit, to become the person you aspire to be. To obsess over the nature of your ex-partner, whether they are a narcissist or something else, is to waste precious moments that could be used to nurture your own soul. It is like watering a dead plant, hoping it will bloom once more, but no amount of water or care will bring it back to life. The traits of a narcissist are just masks of insecurity, fear, and the insatiable need for validation that only serve to draw you into a false sense of responsibility for their healing. These masks are designed to manipulate, to pull at your empathy, to convince you that their wounds are your burden to bear. But tell me, how can you heal another when you are wounded yourself? How can you mend a soul that has no desire to be mended? You must recognize that the true work lies not in trying to fix what is broken in others, but in addressing what needs healing within yourself. Your journey is not about saving them, it is about saving yourself. Only by focusing inward, by embracing your own strength and potential, can you truly begin to heal and flourish. Narcissists, much like tyrants of my time, construct an elaborate shared fantasy, a false reality that they draw others into, a kingdom of delusion where they are the rulers, and others exist only to serve. They weave a world that appears perfect, a paradise where they hold the power, and they convince you that your role within this fantasy is essential, that without you, everything will fall apart. In my life, I too was surrounded by those who wore masks, advisors who whispered deceit into my ears, generals who postured for power without true loyalty, and even friends whose allegiance wavered in the face of ambition. They all constructed their own fantasies, seeking to draw me into their games, to manipulate my perception for their benefit. It was easy to be caught in their games, to be pulled into their fantasies of control and dominance. They promised loyalty, support, and understanding, but beneath these promises lay only ambition and self-interest. But through Stoicism, I learned to detach. I learned that my peace cannot rest upon the whims of another, nor can it depend on the resolution of another's wounds. I realized that I had to build a fortress within myself, an unshakable foundation that could not be swayed by the treacherous tides of others' intentions. This fortress, the inner citadel, became my refuge, a place where I could find solace and strength, irrespective of the chaos that surrounded me. It was here, in this citadel, that I found the power to free myself from the fantasies others tried to impose upon me, to see reality as it truly was, and to act in accordance with virtue rather than the shifting desires of those around me. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. In the depths of your obsession, remember that the power lies not in understanding the narcissist, not in diagnosing them or fixing them, but in controlling your own thoughts, your own responses, and your own emotional state. The narcissist may have hurt you. They may have drawn you into their web of deceit, manipulation, and fantasy, but they do not hold the keys to your freedom. Only you do. The key to your liberation lies within your own mind, in the choices you make about where to focus your energy and attention. It is your perception, your attachment, that binds you to them, and it is your perception that can set you free. When you shift your focus from them to yourself, when you recognize that your value does not depend on their validation, you begin to reclaim your power. True freedom comes from releasing the illusion that their actions define your worth. It is not about their behavior or their recognition. It is about your response, your resilience, and your commitment to your own growth. The journey to freedom begins with realizing that the only person you can truly control is yourself. Embrace this truth, and you will find strength beyond measure. In the depths of your obsession, remember that the power lies not in understanding the narcissist, not in diagnosing them or fixing them, but in controlling your own thoughts, your own responses. The narcissist may have hurt you. They may have drawn you into their web of deceit and fantasy, but they do not hold the keys to your freedom. Only you do. It is your perception, your attachment, that binds you to them, and it is your perception that can set you free. Consider the idea of the inject, the internalized voice of the narcissist that you carry long after they are gone. This voice is not real. It is but an echo, a remnant of the shared fantasy that once ensnared you. It whispers falsehoods, telling you that you are not enough, that you must continue to please, to fix, to heal. It demands your attention, insisting that you are somehow responsible for their happiness, that if only you had done more, things could have been different. But this voice is not your own. It is a specter, a shadow of another's mind that has no place within yours. This voice feeds on your insecurities, on your fears, on your compassion, and twists them to serve its purpose. It wants to keep you bound to the past, chained to a version of yourself that existed only for someone else's gain. In my reflections, I often spoke of the inner citadel, the place within us that cannot be touched by the outside world, that remains pure and sovereign. This citadel is yours, a fortress of reason, virtue, and strength, and no narcissist, no matter how cunning or manipulative, can breach its walls unless you open the gates. Within these walls lies your true self, untainted by the manipulations of others, untouched by their attempts to control you. The inner citadel is where you find peace, where you remember your worth, where you nurture your spirit without the interference of external voices. To protect this citadel is to guard your essence, to refuse to allow the echoes of another's manipulation to dictate your actions or your worth. The citadel is where you reclaim your sovereignty, where you realize that you are complete and enough, just as you are. The journey to this realization may be difficult, but each step you take towards it is a step towards true freedom, towards a life lived on your own terms, beyond the reach of those who sought to control you. The shared fantasy, the illusion that the narcissist creates, is powerful, but it is not impenetrable. It thrives on your willingness to participate, on your belief that your happiness lies within that fantasy. The narcissist constructs a seemingly perfect world, filled with promises of love, fulfillment, and validation. They create a sense of purpose for you within this illusion, making you believe that without them, your life would lack meaning. But this fantasy, no matter how enchanting it may seem, is a cage, an elaborate construct designed to keep you bound to their desires, never allowing you the freedom to truly be yourself. True happiness is not found in the confines of someone else's illusion. It is found within yourself, through virtue, through the alignment of your actions with reason and nature. The narcissist will tell you that you need them, that they are the source of your joy, your validation. They will convince you that only they can complete you, that without their presence, you are incomplete. But this is a lie. It is a manipulation designed to keep you dependent on them, to keep you striving for their approval, always seeking but never truly finding satisfaction. Joy comes from living in accordance with your values, from nurturing your own soul, not from being a pawn in another's game. It comes from the small, everyday acts of self-care, from the pursuit of personal growth, from the courage to stand alone and face the world on your own terms. It comes from embracing who you are, without the need for validation from someone who only seeks to control you. When you release yourself from the shared fantasy, when you let go of the belief that your happiness is tied to their approval, you begin to see the truth, that you are capable of joy, of peace, of fulfillment, entirely on your own. You are enough, and your worth is not determined by someone else's perception of you, but by your own actions, by the strength of your spirit, and by your commitment to living a life of integrity and virtue. When I faced betrayal, when those I trusted sought to undermine me, I did not dwell on their motives or their past wounds. I did not seek to understand their childhoods or diagnose their flaws. Instead, I turned inward. I asked myself, what is within my control? How can I act in accordance with virtue, regardless of what others do? This is the path to freedom. To release the need to fix others, to release the need to understand that which does not serve you, and to focus instead on your own growth, your own peace. I realized that holding on to the desire to understand or justify the actions of those who hurt me was a way of keeping myself tethered to their chaos. It was a subtle form of attachment, an attempt to find meaning in their behavior that would somehow ease my own suffering. But the truth is, their actions were beyond my control, and no amount of analysis or empathy could change what had already been done. The only thing I could change was my response, my perspective, my own heart. So I chose to release it. I chose to let go of the questions that had no answers, to stop replaying their actions in my mind, hoping to find a different outcome. I chose to cultivate my own virtues, to strengthen my own character, to build resilience within myself. I chose to focus on what I could control, my thoughts, my actions, my own journey towards wisdom and inner peace. This is not an easy path. It requires constant vigilance, a willingness to face one's own pain, without seeking to project it onto others, without needing to fix or change those who have caused it. It requires courage, the courage to look within, to accept the reality of what has happened, and to move forward with grace and determination. It requires the understanding that true freedom comes not from changing others, but from changing oneself. By turning inward, by focusing on my own growth, I found a strength that could not be shaken by the actions of others. I found a peace that was not dependent on external circumstances. This is the path to true freedom. The freedom to live in accordance with one's own values, to act with integrity regardless of the chaos that others may bring. It is the freedom to be at peace with oneself, to find joy in the simple act of living, unburdened by the need to fix or understand those who choose to harm. It is tempting, I know, to try to solve the puzzle of the narcissist. To believe that if you can just understand them, understand their fears, their pain, their motivations, you can find closure. You might think that if you can just uncover the reasons behind their actions, the betrayal, the manipulation, you can make sense of it all, and in that sense, find peace. But the truth is, closure does not come from them. Closure is not an explanation from them, nor an apology that will never come. Closure comes from you. It comes from accepting that their wounds are not yours to heal, that their behavior is not yours to fix. It comes from recognizing that your worth is not tied to their validation, that your peace is not dependent on their approval or acknowledgement. True closure is found in understanding that you are whole without their explanations, that you do not need their narrative to define your own story. It comes from letting go of the need for answers, from finding solace in your own strength, from building a life that is meaningful and rich, regardless of what they did or did not do. It is about reclaiming your power, understanding that you are the author of your own story, and choosing to move forward, not because you have all the answers, but because you deserve peace, joy, and freedom. In the marketplace of Rome, I would often see merchants who were consumed by their desire for profit, who would cheat and deceive to gain the upper hand. They believed that their worth was tied to their wealth, that their happiness depended on their success. But they were never satisfied. The more they gained, the more they desired. The narcissist is much the same. They are driven by an insatiable need for validation, for control, for adoration. And no matter how much you give, it will never be enough. Their emptiness is not yours to fill. To heal from narcissistic abuse, you must turn away from the narcissist and turn towards yourself. This means redirecting the energy you once used to understand or accommodate them towards nurturing your own growth. You must cultivate the virtues of wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance, values that have stood the test of time as pillars of a fulfilled and resilient life. These virtues are not just abstract concepts. They are tools that will help you build a foundation of strength and integrity. You must build your inner citadel, that fortress within your mind that remains untouched by the chaos of the outside world. Strengthening your mind is not an overnight task. It is a daily commitment, a process of learning to observe your thoughts, challenge old beliefs, and replace them with those that serve your highest good. Nurture your spirit by engaging in practices that bring you peace and help you reconnect with your authentic self. This might be through meditation, journaling, spending time in nature, or simply allowing yourself to rest without guilt. You must learn to find joy in the simple things, things that are always within your reach, independent of others. The gentle rustle of leaves in the wind, the beauty of a sunset, the warmth of a friend's smile, the peace that comes with a quiet mind. These are the gifts of life that no one can take away from you. They are reminders that happiness is not something granted by others, but something cultivated within. The narcissist will try to convince you that you cannot be happy without them, that you are nothing without their love. They will weave tales that make you feel small, dependent, and incomplete. But this is a lie, a manipulation designed to keep you tethered to them, feeding into their need for control. The truth is, you are whole, complete, and worthy on your own. Your worth is intrinsic. It is not determined by their recognition or approval. You do not need their validation to know your value. The power to define your worth has always resided within you. Healing requires that you reclaim this power, that you dismantle the false narratives that have kept you bound, and that you choose, every day, to see yourself through eyes of compassion and strength. It means turning away from the noise of their lies and turning inward to the quiet, steady voice of your own wisdom. It means recognizing that your journey is about becoming who you are meant to be, free from the distortions of their influence. The path may be challenging, but each step you take towards yourself is a step towards true freedom, towards a life lived authentically, in alignment with your deepest values and desires. Reflect, if you will, on the concept of the shared fantasy. This is the illusion that the narcissist creates, the perfect relationship, the ideal partnership, the fantasy of love that they use to lure you in. But this fantasy is not real. It is a mirage, a deception designed to keep you bound to them. The reality is far different. The reality is that they are incapable of true intimacy, of genuine love. They are driven by their own insecurities, their own need for control, and they will never be able to give you the love that you deserve. To free yourself from the shared fantasy, you must see it for what it is, an illusion. You must recognize that the love they offered was conditional, transactional, and ultimately empty. You must let go of the hope that they will change, that they will become the person they pretended to be. You must accept that their wounds are not yours to heal, that their happiness is not your responsibility. I know that this is not easy. I know that the pain of letting go can feel unbearable, that the fear of being alone can be overwhelming. But I also know that true freedom, true peace, lies on the other side of this pain. It lies in the courage to face the truth, to accept reality as it is, and to let go of that which does not serve you. You may find yourself asking, why did this happen to me? What did I do to deserve this? But these questions are not helpful. They keep you trapped in the past, in the fantasy, in the illusion. Instead, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can I grow? How can I use this experience to become a better version of myself? This is the path of the Stoic. This is the path of resilience, of strength, of true freedom. You are not defined by your past, by the abuse you endured, by the narcissist who sought to control you. You are defined by your actions, by your choices, by your character. You have the power to choose how you respond, how you heal, how you grow. You have the power to create a life that is meaningful, fulfilling, and free from the chains of the past. Do not waste your precious time and energy trying to understand the narcissist, trying to fix them, trying to heal them. This is not your burden to bear. Instead, focus on your own healing, your own growth, your own journey. Focus on becoming the best version of yourself, on living in accordance with your values, on building a life that is rich in meaning and purpose. Remember, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. The narcissist may have tried to break you, to control you, to make you doubt your worth. But they did not succeed. You are here, you are strong, and you are capable of healing, of growing, of thriving. Let go of the illusion. Let go of the fantasy. Let go of the need to understand, to fix, to heal. Turn inward. Cultivate your virtues. Build your inner citadel. This is the path to freedom. This is the path to peace. This is the path of the Stoic.